You did in fact read that title right. It is time for the end of the year tag, which does not seem right that it is already the end of the year. And the fact that I'm like in a t-shirt still, because surprisingly, once again, the sun is shining today. So I'm feeling optimistic. I feel like today I'm in a good mood, but it's like that. I think it's just because the sun is shining, but I'm feeling optimistic about the end of the year, and I'm feeling optimistic personally for 2024. I mean, this year was pretty good for me personally. Like, my reading's been pretty good this year. I have got a lot of new favorites this year that I have really loved. I definitely have not read as many books as I typically do. However, the books that I have read, I feel like better about this year. And I think that's because I haven't been like pushing myself as much to read. And also I achieved one of my like lifelong personal dreams of publishing a book. And I'm really excited for the books that I have to come next year for you guys. Anyways, let's go ahead and do the end of the year tag. Let me grab this with the questions. So it's not a very long one, so hopefully this shouldn't be a long video, but I am a long-winded bitch, and you guys know that, so we'll see how long this actually ends up being. But first question is, are there any books you started this year that you didn't finish? So actually, I have DNF'd more books this year than I ever had in my entire life. And by that, I think I've DNF'd like 7 or 8. But there are 3 books that I didn't include with that like I soft DNF'd. It's not that I didn't want to finish them. They still are books that I want to finish, but they are ones that I have started and have not finished yet. I'm not going to share all the ones that I just like completely DNF'd, because obviously I can't really give a well-formed opinion on them because I didn't finish them. But 3 books that I put down, but I do intend on picking back up one day are, first up, let me reach back here. We got King of Pride. I started this. You can see where my bookmark is. I started this when I was on vacation back in September, and then it was like the end of vacation when I started it, and then I just never finished it. And then by the time that I got back, I still had it in one of my book sleeves, and I like put it on top of my bookshelf, and I honestly kind of forgot that I had started it. And it's not that I don't like this book already, and y'all know how much I love Anna Huang. I just like haven't made my way back to finishing it yet. So honestly, and I don't know if I'll read this physically. I think maybe that's part of it too. I don't read physically a lot of the time, so I need to like download it in KU and just like move my spot to that. I do still really want to get around to this one, so I will be picking this one back up at some point. It really was just like I kind of forgot that I was in the middle of reading it. Another one that I started and haven't finished but do intend to is The Danger You Know by Lily White. So this one I was supposed to read for the dark romance trope battle read along. This was Nikki's pick for that me, Nikki, Cheyenne, and Sam do together. And here's the thing with this one. When I tried to pick this book up, so this one was a bit of a timing issue too, because obviously we have the live show date set. You have to kind of have these books done by that point. So I was under crunch time. And here's the thing. When I picked this book up a few weeks ago, when I was supposed to read it, my mind was preoccupied a little bit by a man. And to be honest, I was spiraling a little bit stupidly, and I couldn't I just didn't want to be in a dark romance mood. I needed something like lighter. I couldn't deal with the stalker man at this point. I was not paying close enough attention to it. I truly, like, my mind was just elsewhere. And I do want to pick it back up because I love Sin and Discipline by Lily White. This book just at the moment was not going to be it for me, so I did put it down. But at some point I will revisit this one when I'm in the mood for a really dark book again. And the last one is Black Sunshine by Karina Halley. So this one we were going to do for our Out of Bounds book club pick, and then we ended up like postponing our live show, and then we canceled our live show altogether. And I was listening to this one on Hoopla, and I think I have just realized that maybe new books on audio are not the way for me to digest them. I was having a really hard time like just processing this book. I found myself zoning out all the time. It was nothing against this book in general. I actually was liking it from what I was getting into it, but then after we postponed our live show, then I was like, and I just kind of forgot about it and never finished it. So still want to read this at some point, but for right now I haven't finished it. Okay, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So I don't read a ton of holiday romances, and I don't tend to read, like things when they're like in the season to read them. And last year I did a really fun unhinged Christmas novella reading vlog that I love doing. They were so fun. I found these like 25 absolutely unhinged novellas, and they were a lot of fun. And I like reading Christmas novellas, so I do think this year, if you have any good Christmas novella romance recommendations, please leave them for me in the comments. I would be very interested in finding some. However, one Christmas book that I'm particularly interested by is Unwrapped by Them by Ava Ashwood. So I've never read anything by this author, but I saw someone talking about this one on TikTok, that it's like a snowed in why choose Christmas time romance, and like I'm in a why choose kind of mood right now. And also, if I'm getting a Christmas book, I don't want Hallmark. I still want the same level of heat and kind of like derangedness that I look for in my everyday books. Just make it like Christmas time. So I do want to read this one for sure. So I have this one already on my December TBR. But if there are any more, like I said, any more Christmas holiday novellas, particularly because I don't really want like a ton of full length books. I feel like novellas are like the perfect kind of length for me in terms of what I want for holiday stuff. So let me know if you have any recommendations, and let me know also if you want me to do a Christmas novella recommendation video. I don't know if I have enough that I actually ended up enjoying from doing that vlog, but I did have some, so I could definitely do one if you guys are interested. Is there a new release that you're still waiting for or you still need to read? So I don't think there are any more that I'm still waiting for this year. I want to say all of them, and that's the hard thing too about like being a primarily indie reader, is that like release dates sometimes aren't like super set in advance. But I think the last release date was Worst Kept Secret by QB, and I think that's the last one that at least I had on. Oh no, I do actually have one more. It was Own Me by K.A. Tucker. Another book in the Wolf Hotel series that's coming in December. I think December 9th. I already added it to my December TBR. So it's another Abby and Henry book. And I don't think she's really released that much more about the content of it, but this is a new release that I'm super excited for and will for sure be reading when it comes out. But otherwise, ones that I still need to read. So there are 3 this year that I haven't gotten to that were like high priority for me. So first up, that is Madame by Sarah Kate, the last book in the Salacious Players Club series, and one that I have been highly anticipating. I have loved Eden as a side character throughout the series, and I was really excited for this one to come out. However, I've kind of burned myself out with sex club books at the moment. I just feel like I've read a lot this year, and I just kind of need a little bit of a break from that trope. So I will for sure be reading this at some point. I'm very excited about it. I love Sarah Kate's books. I love this series. But I just, like I said, I know if I were to force myself to read it right now, I wouldn't fully enjoy it. Like, I know I can if I just like listen to my mood reading. The other one, King of Greed by Anna Huang, obviously, like I love her and I'm so excited for this book, Marriage in Trouble, like yes please. But again, I kind of wanted to read King of Pride. I know that I don't have to, but y'all kind of know that I'm a bit of like a stickler with myself for reading orders. So once I finish King of Pride, then I will read King of Greed, but that one is a new one that I was highly anticipating and still haven't gotten around to. And last is Pretty Little Mistake by Macaulay Smeltzer. This one was an Office Place surprise pregnancy romance, and I love Macaulay Smeltzer's books, and this was one that I had on my radar heading into this year because I think this one was actually traditionally published, and it's just one that I was highly anticipating, but then when it came out, again, mood reading problems, wasn't really in the mood for it, but I still really want to read it. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So first up, The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. So I actually was not sure if I was going to read this book. Y'all know, if you are not new to my channel here, y'all know how much I love the Off-Campus series. Those are like some of my all-time favorite hockey romances, especially Grace and Logan, The Mistake, my personal favorite, but I love The Deal. The Deal is one of like the first romance books that kind of like really got me into romance, and I obviously, when this was announced, I was excited about it. However, I don't love second generation series. I think the Like Us series by Kristen Becker-Ritchie is the only one that I have read that has like not let me down. And I struggle a lot with second generation series. So when this was, announced with being the second gen, I've just been tentative. However, I've had some friends read it and really enjoy it. And I just think that like, I don't think I could be steered wrong by it, but we'll see. I do still really want to read this one. I actually have it downloaded on my Kindle right now. So, and I'm kind of in a hockey romance mood after finishing Iced Out. So we'll see. I definitely want to read this one by the end of the year. Where There's a Will by Jessie Walker. So Lizelle actually DM'd me about this one because she also has read Garen Park and loves it, loves that duet, and she was like, this is giving me like similar vibes. It's super toxic, super messy, rock star, I think like really like damaged, tortured heroes, and everything. I was like, say less, Lizelle, say less. So I downloaded it on my Kindle. I was actually planning on starting it the other night, and then I couldn't get it like downloaded. Like it was queued for a while, so then I started Carnage. But as soon as I finish Carnage, this is going to be my next ebook. Also, sorry if you can start to hear some yard work. We're getting close to like wrapping up this video here, so honestly, I think I'm just going to push on. But I really want to read this one. And lastly, Breath Mints and Battle Scars. I think, oh shoot, who's this by? Oh, I forgot to write down who this is by. It's a Hermione fan fiction, and it's like their 8th year at Hogwarts after the war, and they all are like sent to come back and like just kind of pretend like nothing happened. And I've heard that this is one of the messiest ones, the angstiest Draco and Hermione, and one of the meanest Dracos, which like sign me up for that. Yes, please. Tell me there isn't a part of that I wouldn't love. So I have this one downloaded on my Kindle as well, and it's been one that has been a high priority for me pretty much since I read Manacled last year, but especially now this year, again, after reading Secrets and Masks, which was just chef's kiss. Love, love. Next, is there a book you think could shock you and be your favorite book of the year? Honestly, I don't think so, because I kind of have 3 books right now that are all battling for the top spot, and like it does really change day by day. But there is one that I think could disrupt my top 10, but also I think it would kind of get lumped in with 2 other books, and that's Knock Knock by Nordica Knight. This is the 3rd book in the From Nothing series. So Devin and Maddox, they have the first 2 books, Garen Park and Lot 62, and then it's their brothers' stories, which I loved them as side characters, and I'm really, really looking forward to this book. It releases later this month. I cannot wait. And I do think that this has the potential to be added in on my top 10. I think I would probably like lump them together. I tend to do that with series just to like make it fair, because otherwise like the Like Us series would have a bunch of spots in my top 10. So we will see. I would say that this one though could have the potential to be joining on that list. However, I never want to count anything out, because especially last year, I thought I had my top 10 set. I was like pretty locked and loaded, even in like October, I felt like. And then I read Where the Mountains Meet the Sea by A.R. Breck, and y'all know that ended up being number 5 on my list last year. Blown away by that book, still a favorite of mine. And then in December, I ended up reading Vibe by Liza James, which again, another all-time favorite, and kind of like disrupted things for me. So I'm not counting anything out, but at least for right now, I'm thinking like Knock Knock potentially is the one that would have, at least that I am like planning on reading, could take a spot or add a spot. And the last question is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Yes and no. In case if you missed my TBR video for last month, I did make the announcement. So I've been a part of 2 book clubs this year. Out of Bounds Book Club that I co-host with Nikki from Nikki and Bookland, and Smut Club that I co-host with Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl. And we are calling both of those book clubs this year. Out of Bounds is already done, but Smut Club we're going to finish out the year with. But because of that, I just, especially now, my place has kind of shifted a little bit ever since releasing my book, that I just never want to be in the situation where I'm on a live show, and I never want to just like spend my breath, like if I didn't like a book, like bashing another author's book. But at the same time, I don't want to ever feel like I can't be honest about my opinions either. So at least like with this format, with like me just doing YouTube videos, I can just highlight the books that I want to highlight, and books that I love, and books that I recommend to you guys. Where on live shows, you know, you don't always end up loving all the books. And I just don't want to ever like sit on there and, like I said, bash another person's book if I didn't like it, because reading is so subjective. So at the end of the day, I don't expect every book to work for everyone, or like my book to work for everyone. But I also don't want to just like create that space of just like breeding negativity on it. But then I also never wanted to put my co-hosts in a bad position where they can't be on, or like feel like they can't be honest, or like people in the comments feeling like they can't be honest. So you might be like, why does that feed into your reading plans? Well, because next year I got nothing that I'm obligated to read, which I'm really actually excited for. I am really excited to just kind of get back to mood reading whatever I feel like reading, picking up books whenever I feel like it. I've also kind of pulled myself out. I'm not going to be really doing any read-alongs or anything, unless if they're for series that I've already read and loved and they're like rereads of mine, just because again, I don't want to put myself in a potentially bad situation where I don't like a book and feel like I can't be honest, or, you know, whatever. It's new territory that I'm navigating here. And at least on my channel, obviously, things really haven't changed. That's kind of like how I've been filtering my videos for months now, because I obviously knew that I was going to be releasing a book. So I shifted my content, especially in the last half of the year, to really just highlight books that I love. So that's just kind of how it's going to continue forward. And with that, I think honestly, my reading is going to thrive next year. Just being able to pick up whatever the hell I want to pick up. And I'm only reading books that I actually want to read, and I'm really excited about it. And the other thing that this obviously isn't a part of the question, but I'm going to throw it in here at the tail end of this video in case if any of you have stuck around this long. And in case if you're interested, if you're not interested in any of my writing shit, then you can click out and I'll see you when I see ya. But if you are, then here's this for you. Also, writing plans. I think so far I tentatively have 3 books slotted for next year. We will see. Second book in the Whisper Me Nothing series, I'm really pushing for March. I will not set a release date until I am closer and feel more secure in that, but I am going to be moving. I have some things going on in the spring, so I'm really pushing for March. I have a standalone book that is not going to be a part of the Whisper Me Nothing series. I won't reveal anything yet about what the content of it is, but that is going to be released late July / early August. I'm really locked in on that. If I cannot meet that with this book, then I'm holding this book completely. It's really locked in, late July, early August of 2024. And if you know what is taking place late July, early August, you might be able to guess a little bit of the content of it, but that I really have to be on time with that one. And then third book in the Whisper Me Nothing series, I'm thinking late November. It's a lot, but also I think me pulling back too on a lot of my outside reading commitments is going to free me up a lot more to just put more time into writing, which is what I truly love and care about right now. Obviously, reading, I'm never going to stop reading. I'm not going to stop making videos, but I think in terms of outside commitments and being more in the creator space of the side of Bookstagram and Booktube and stuff, I'm still obviously in that space, but I've kind of removed myself from some of the more interactive parts with that. I don't know if that's making sense to anyone, if that makes sense to anyone, but all of that to say is that next year it's really just going to free me up to mood read however the hell I want, and I'm really excited for that, and also just really free me up to spend a lot of my time just writing, which is what I love and what I want to really make work. And I'm really excited about the stories that I have for you guys. And I did a calendar over the weekend of plotting out all of the books that I at least have in my head, of kind of giving rough timeline of when I want to be working on them all, and I'm just really excited about them. So anyways, that, like I said, that was not a part of the tag, but I wanted to just kind of tack that in here at the end for anyone who cares and anyone that's still sticking around and is interested in where I'm going with also writing too. So anyways, oh my god, and garbage people are just arriving. This is perfect timing. So anyways, that's it for today's video. I'm not gonna have one up on Friday. I'm actually gonna have one up on Thursday this week because it is my birthday on Thursday and I have to do a special birthday video. So that will be up on Thursday. So you're gonna get a video a day early from me this time. So anyways, that is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.